So David, now it's going on, a year and a half now of you being so good, so consistent. I know you talk all the time about the health being the number one reason why, but aside from health, if you could point to one thing, what has it been that has elevated you this way?
I think experience has a lot to do with it. I think, being in my 6th year now, I think there's a lot that I've learned the last 5 years, and trying to learn from mistakes and get better from them and not make them again. I think that's the biggest thing. There's going to be things that come back and bite you, but learning from the mistake that you made and not letting it sting you again. And so, I think a lot of that. I think my approach has changed, whether it's how I scout teams, more adjustments during the game, letting the game kind of dictate what happens. And so I think, just overall, from that point of view, having more tools at my disposal and more experience to lean on.
When you talk about how you've changed, specifically with the in-game adjustments, what is different now than it used to be for you?
I think, when I first came up, having 5 pitches, but 3 that were my best, and the other 2 were kind of there, less usage, all of that. I think now that I have 5 and the usage is a lot more spread out, and I'm using all 5 a lot more, I think, it helps keep hitters off balance. It gives me other options to go to when maybe they're sitting on something or they're fouling something off. And so, I think that has a huge thing to do with it, just being able to adjust in-game to whether something they're trying to do, the situation at hand, being able to use the best pitches in that scenario rather than just leaning on 3 or 4.
8th pitch of the at-bat coming from Peterson to Ohtani. And it's on the outside corner, got him looking at the fastball. David Peterson finishes off the 7th inning by striking out Ohtani for the 5th time in his 2 starts against the Dodgers this year.
David, you and I talked about this in spring, that when you look at your expected numbers, they're always a lot worse than the actual numbers. Obviously, there are reasons for the expected numbers in totality, but what does that aspect of analytics miss about you? Because clearly this is not something where it's been a year and a half fluke. What are they missing? What is that tool missing with your success?
I think it's not necessarily just me, but I think, the thing that this expected formula or equation that they've come up with doesn't take into account is the human element. And I don't think it takes into account pitchability. And there's a lot of things that it highlights. There's a lot of things that maybe it overlooks. I don't know all the inner workings of it, but I think, you can have guys that light up the iPad or light up the formula and they don't pitch great. And you have guys that don't have the greatest numbers and they find a way to do it. And I think that's, at the end of the day, we're all trying to get better. We're all trying to have nasty stuff and do all this and do all that, but at the end of the day, do you get outs? Do you give your team a chance to win? And I think that's something for me that I focus on and maybe is part of the difference between the numbers I put up the last few seasons versus what's expected.